Hello everyone, welcome to the YouTube channel. This is the Crucible of NYC. I'm your host, Domingo. I have a question for you folks. In the event of a power outage or any utilities that are turned off, do you have some source of backup at home, any type of battery packs such as these, or any utilities that you can use to either cook in case if there's no gas or if there's no electricity? Do you have some source of backup to back up your batteries or to charge your phones, or even just if you have a bike? These are the things that I own and I would like to share with you all, that I think that when you live in an apartment or when we rely on the grid or rely on anything that's governmental, that I think that people should own and should have. So besides these two devices that I have done reviews for, which is the Bluetti AC200 Max and the EcoFlow River 600 Max, and right on top is just a wireless Bluetooth speaker from Zealot. Now, this is just a disclaimer. Nothing here that I am introducing to you is sponsored. These are purchased with my own money, and I just wanted a review with you folks, just to show you folks what I have and maybe what I think that you folks should have in your home, if you can afford it, or if you can't, then I'll show you other options. So here's the AC200 Max from Bluetti. This will give you 2 kilowatts, 2.2048 kilowatts of power for just to run a refrigerator, run some fans, heaters. The same thing goes for the EcoFlow River 600. This can run a small fridge, some fans, some heaters, charge your phones, tablets, laptops. This is just a Bluetooth wireless speaker from Zealot. This also serves as a battery bank because there is a 10,000 milliamp battery, and it allows you to charge your devices via USB. So if you have, for example, a tablet or anything else, you can use the USB port there to charge your devices as well. So it serves as two purposes, as to entertainment and as well as to have some source of backup. Now, here is the 100-watt solar panel from Power Queen that I have reviewed previously, and this is something that I won in an Instagram contest, which I thank you, Power Queen, again. This is not sponsored, it's just thanking you. And this is something I want everyone to see, what I have at home, that I think that if you do own a home or an apartment or live in an apartment, I think that these things are essential to have. Now, what are these things? Let's start from the top and then work our way across. So right there on the side, what I have are canned sternals, and what they're canned heat, and no pun intended for the song. But the purpose of having the sternals, the butanes, and the candles is that the sternal could serve as, if you do not have gas and you lost gas, it can serve a purpose as a small portable stove. And sternals are actually very hot. They're gel-based, alcohol gel-based. So if you need to cook anything, you can actually cook with the sternal using a lighter and either one of these two lighters. You also have matches that you can use. And these butane fuels are to refuel your lighters if they run out, which is very important, very essential, because people take for granted when they have a cigarette lighter, they think that the lighter fluid is going to last them a long time. So I believe that it's a good way of having some source of backup. Also, a candle is always, it's just a necessity for heat and for lighting as well. And you also have tea lights as well that you can use, as well as you have matches to light these devices. And then you have a can opener. How stupid that sounds, it's actually very important. If you have canned foods, how are you going to open the canned foods? Some people use knives, but that's not smart. I would say just get any simple can opener, just in case you have canned foods, and you should always store canned foods at home, just in case you need to cook something. Tape. This tape is very essential because it can help you to put things together. If you need to just hold something down, that's very crucial and very important to have. This is another torch, but this is by far a lot more powerful than these lighters. This is enough to, like, actually, if you need to heat something up at a high temperature, I would suggest you use these. Also to melt things, I would say, like for example, heat shrink. If you need to heat up heat shrink and shrink it, it's a great idea. Next, an infrared thermometer. As funny as this sounds, an infrared thermometer would help you find out how cold it is in the apartment and how hot it is in the apartment, as well as you can use a thermometer for your food to see how hot your food gets, to see if it's at a proper temperature. Screwdrivers and vice grips. Pliers, vice grips, however you want to call these tools. And this is a hand tool, a multi-tool that also I believe everyone should have. And this was given to me by a friend of mine, a good friend of mine. His name is Garfield. Thank you, Garfield, for that. And this comes with the multi-tool kit that comes with different bits. This is a bracelet, a striker bracelet that comes with a fire starter. And it also comes with a whistle. It comes with a whistle right there. Small compass. And this is just like some rope that you can undo and unwind, and if you need it, you can always use the rope. But this is as far as tools are concerned and kitchen purposes, heating purposes. The next I have here is a USB fan. This is a great fan. I mean, I highly recommend anyone that especially in the heat, if it's too hot, or if you just need air circulating around. It only consumes 4 watts and it's USB. The output is with the USB. So you can use either a power bank or you can use anything else that's USB related to actually power this fan. And this is actually a really good thing to have. Next on the list, a cell phone. Any old cell phone that you have laying around the house that you're not using, it's a great idea to charge the phone, because this can serve as a flashlight, and it could serve also as entertainment purposes for any children or anybody, for yourself as well. But this is a good source of light with the battery if the phone is inoperable, because if there is no Wi-Fi and there's no cell phone signal, there are 2 things that you can do with the phone. Well, 3 things. One you can use is with a flashlight. The second one would be you can download offline maps from Google, and you can store the maps and you can use them at your leisure. And the GPS still works, but you just won't have live traffic feed or any kind of stuff like that. But at least you have the maps downloaded to the phone, which is a great idea. And the third is just if you want to download movies, download games, it's a source of entertainment to keep a spare phone on the side. Zip ties. Funny enough, people actually take these things for granted. Those things are amazing. So if you have things that you want to hold up, say for example, I needed to hang my solar panel out in the fire escape or out by the window, out by anything. If I needed to hang them up, I can use the zip ties just for a moment to just secure them down and tie them down. Say for example, if you washed your clothes by hand and you needed to just hold them down, you can get ring clips and zip tie them to the ring clips. Great little thing to have. I think that would be a great thing, a great addition to have for your house. Next, battery packs. You can never have enough battery packs. So starting from the smallest to the largest, we have these 10,000 milliamp battery banks. There are 2 ports. This one recharges itself with a micro USB, as well as this one, but this one also does fast charging. So this can fast charge your device. 2 10,000 milliamp power battery banks, great to have. This is a solar panel battery bank that my lady had given me for this for Christmas, and I thank you for giving this to me. This serves as a flashlight, a wireless charger for your device, and as well as a solar panel. This you can hang it out the window, not necessarily out the window, but by the windowsill of the top part of your window. And you can leave this not outside, but pointing towards the sun, and this will help it to recharge it in the daytime so that it'll recharge it without having to drain any power banks that you have or anything else that you wanted to use to recharge as far as wasting utilities is concerned. Next, a 30,000 milliamp battery bank. This thing is huge, massive. But what's great about this thing is that this has multiple ports to charge. You can charge the power bank with a USB-C, a micro USB, and even with a lightning port. Go figure, huh? And this also has a fast charge USB-A, and this also you can recharge the power brick as well using reverse charging. A next one, very, very, very important tool to have. This is an NOAA weather radio, stands for National Oceanic Atmospheric, I believe it's Association radio. And what this does is that this gives you 3 bands. It gives you AM, FM, and it gives you the weather channel, which gives you live news if there's anything that's happening with the weather, which is essential to have. So if there's a kind of tornado or flooding or anything like that, this is very good because this will give you an emergency in case that we don't have any types of television or internet working. This is an essential thing to have. Also, this has a small portable solar panel that you can put on the windowsill, and it also comes with a flashlight. Not to mention, this has a winding up power. So this, if you wind this up, it recharges the battery. So in case the battery does die, you could always recharge this by winding this up. Also, this has small USB ports to recharge this back. It's a micro USB, a headphone jack, and this also serves as a battery bank. So you can also recharge your batteries with this. Very essential tool to have. Cables. It's always good to have spare cables. USB-C, micro USB, and your lightning cables, because if you're using one cable and it breaks, now you're out of luck. Now you don't have anything to back it up. So I would always recommend to have at least 2 to 3 of each cable, so just to keep it as a backup. Right above that, this is a modified sine wave inverter. What does that mean? That means that this is not the same type of electricity that you get from your home. So the voltage goes up and down. So what's good for this to power up is like if you have small fans, small heaters, I would suggest you use this device to use it as a small utility paired with like small little batteries. So this is a 750 watt modified inverter. This was purchased from Harbor Freight, and the peak is 1500 watts. This is a 12 volt modified sine wave. So there's 2 small batteries that are right next to it. They're lead acid batteries. They're AGM lead acid sealed batteries. This is a 7 amp hour battery, and this is a 35 amp hour battery. They're both 12 volt batteries. They can be used with the inverter to power any lights or any devices that are non-essential. So no laptops, no charging iPhones, iPads, anything like that I wouldn't charge. But it does have a USB. I would use that USB port to, say, for example, charge the battery bank. That would be okay. But other than that, I wouldn't use it for any other sensitive electronics. And then running down the list, showing you that brick that you see right there, which is a lamb ghoul. This is a battery bank. This is a great tool because if you have a bicycle, this is a power pump. This is a bicycle pump. It comes with this it doesn't come with this attachment. I purchased this gooseneck attachment, which makes it easier to quickly disconnect it. This is a manual pump. And this battery pack, the purpose of it is to obviously fill up the tires with air, but this is a 2000 milliamp battery capacity, which you can use it to charge your phones as well. But this is a great device that you can use to charge, to charge your devices or to add air to your tires. This is also a manual pump. So for that pump, the reason why I mentioned the pump is because what's another good thing to have is a bicycle, a folding one preferably because it's small and you can store it anywhere. But a folding bike is great. And any type of bicycle is essential, because if there's no power, there's no gas, there's no nothing, how are you going to get around? You need to get around somewhere, so use a bicycle. Just power it with yourself, obviously. And I did mention the solar panel. Next, double A's and triple A's. 9 volts, 18650 lithium batteries, and all sorts of batteries that you can always have are always essential. Rechargeables are always preferred because you can always use them multiple times, and you can use this charger to recharge these batteries. These are all rechargeable batteries that are in the stack. This is also a rechargeable battery. This is a 26650 battery. So it's a very, very large battery which goes to these flashlights. Next would be flashlights. I would highly, highly, highly tell you guys, please get a flashlight that has rechargeable capabilities, or that it can take rechargeable batteries, because you do not want to have batteries that rely on these type of batteries. These are alkaline batteries, which once they're drained, they're discarded, as opposed to rechargeable batteries. You could keep recharging them with power banks or anything like that using a USB recharger. These flashlights, there are 4 separate types of flashlights there that I had placed up there, and the reason why is that this is a headlamp. This headlamp from Nightcore, it's about 400 lumens, and the purpose of this headlamp is that when you need to grab things, you need your hands free. It's always essential to have a headlamp because it'll help you illuminate what you need to get. And there's another 2 options that this has. This has a CRI light bulb, which is a color rendering index bulb. This means that in the night, in darkness, and if you need to see color and you need to make out what's out there, that bulb serves as a color bulb. It'll help you to see what the colors are. Yellow is yellow, blue is blue, green is green, as opposed to having a blue LED that everything looks like it's blue or gray. The other light it has like a night vision light. It's a red light, so it helps not necessarily to see things in the night as a night vision. What it does is that, what I mean by night vision is that if you are in a very dark lit area and you don't want to put too much lighting to see certain things in the night, sometimes it's better to use a red light to see things in the night. But if you see videos on how it's done, you'll understand why I mentioned that. This is a 1600 lumens flashlight. It's 2 LEDs with 2 batteries. And this is not rechargeable from the flashlight itself, but I can use the recharger to charge the battery bank. Next, this is another, I believe this one is 1600 lumens, a through night flashlight. This is a very powerful flashlight, 1600 lumens. And this uses the same type of battery that it's right here. This is a 26650 battery. And this is the type of battery that would be used for this flashlight. And the last one would be this flashlight here. This is a UV flashlight. Now, why do I need a UV flashlight for? You're probably asking, why would you need a UV flashlight? Well, the reason for a UV flashlight is that in the event that, for example, you go out and you want to see if there were stains somewhere, or just even, to be honest with you, even if you go somewhere and you want to know if it's sanitary, with the UV flashlight, you can actually see urine stains. You can see mud stains or crap stains, anything that you can't see with your naked eye. Fingerprints, you can use a UV flashlight to actually see what was there. The charger. This is a 20 amp charger. This charges AGM, which is the battery right up there. These 2 batteries are AGM lead acid batteries. It charges also lithium batteries and lithium iron phosphate batteries, which is the Power Queen, is a lithium iron phosphate battery. So that charger would be used to charge those 3 batteries when the light returns, or when the electricity returns, or if you go somewhere that someone has a generator running, or there's a place that has power. You would take this device with you, take the battery and this battery with you to charge the batteries back at 20 amp hour, which would charge the batteries a lot quicker than having no charge. Now, this is what I've done before. This is my DIY build, and I think that if you cannot afford a Blue Eddy or EcoFlow, I would suggest that you do your research and see how you can build something like this. I do not recommend anybody to do this because this is not a recommendation, it's just a suggestion on this part. Everything else I recommended, I can recommend to you to do, but this is at your disclosure and at your leisure. But in the event that the grid goes down, I think that having something like this built at home serves yourself as a backup. On the top, I have two 10-watt LED bulbs that are powered. This whole system is powered by that one battery, that Power Queen 100 amp hour battery at 12 volts. And my power source is this Red Odo 1000 watt pure sine wave inverter. Notice that this is a pure sine wave inverter and not a modified sine wave inverter. This inverter from Red Odo 1000 watts, the pure sine wave is the electricity that comes from your home, which means that the frequency is fluid. It's, in other words, the voltage and the current stays consistent as opposed to fluctuating like the modified sine wave. The modified sine wave, the voltage and the current, it goes up and down sharply. That's why it's not recommended for sensitive devices or like charging your laptop or iPad. But there are people that use it for that, but I don't recommend it. So if you decide to do this on yourself and you decide to choose to do this on yourself, I would suggest to purchase a 100 amp hour battery, a small inverter, 1000 watts, because it doesn't draw a lot of power. You don't want to buy something that is consuming a lot of power and idling. Next, I have this 500 amp shunt from Renogy, and that is my battery monitor, which indicates and tells me exactly what's the battery life and how much runtime do I have of the devices that I own. I have my Renogy solar charge controller, which this is a PWM, pulse width modulation controller, not an MPPT controller, which is a multi-point power tracking system. The difference is that one has higher voltage and higher current and then holds it and looks for the highest output, and one doesn't. So this is the PWM that doesn't do this. So what this does is that this grabs the highest wattage and then just tries to grab as more efficiently as possible. And the other one is just a lot more efficient. But these are more inexpensive. And I think that if you want to do a budget build, I would say go with a PWM solar charge controller, especially from Renogy. I would try to avoid the knockoff ones because they tend to burn up sometimes. I used one that was very inexpensive and I don't recommend it. But I think that you should stick to a brand that you know. I also have a Bluetooth module that goes connected to the phone. So in case if I'm away from the battery system, I can monitor the state of charge of the battery and see how much sun is coming in. So in other words, how much solar I'm getting. And these are my solar disconnect. So I can disconnect the solar panels if I don't want power feeding the system if I'm doing any type of work. This is also another protective method that I can also use to disconnect the batteries. This is a battery disconnect. This is just a regular battery disconnect using a fuse block. This is my power distribution. And these are essential to have, especially if you are putting these things together. So after running through all of this, I also have these switches that are connected to the fuse block, and then they go all the way down to the battery. So these circuit breakers are 30 amp circuit breakers, and this disconnects the solar charge controller, and the power that it's feeding through here is coming down this distribution block here, and it goes into the fuse block here. And then you have a 100 amp circuit breaker right here. And then it goes down into the inverter and into the battery. And then, so to turn on the lights, I would use this switch here. And this turns on both lights. It's pretty blinding, pretty bright. It's not as bright as like it'll light up the whole room, but this whole panel, if I transport it somewhere, I have light and power wherever I go. I also have a surge protector, which is right next to it. So I'll turn these off. This also has a voltmeter right there as well, which is reading 13.3 volts. It's sort of accurate. It's just like by 0.1 volt off. This is just a Belkin power surge strip. And this is just, like I said, if you decide to do this on your own, and just disclaiming again that I am not recommending anybody to do this because I am not responsible for what your choices are and what you do. You can get seriously hurt because you can get electrically shocked from this. But if you're careful and you can read books, you can read manuals, you could see videos of people doing this, putting this together, going this route, because this way you have an abundance of power at home in case of anything happens. And I think that that'll be it for me, just to show you guys that having the essential things being prepared at home is very crucial, especially when it comes to this day and age, relying on the government that we all do. We all rely on Con Edison or any type of power grid source that feeds us power and feeds us gas. These things could be easily taken away from us. And why not be prepared and have these things essentially at your own home? Yeah, you can piecemeal these things together. You can put these things together little by little, but at least you're prepared and you'll have everything you need just in the event that the lights do go out or the gas goes out. And a bicycle, man, again, you have no idea how crucial it is to have a bicycle when you need to transport yourself somewhere. Of course, in the rain it sucks, but at least you can get around. And solar panels and these power battery banks, I think that everything here is just something that I think everybody should take a look at and think of having this on their own. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. And if you need me to make any diagrams, please let me know and put them in the comment section. I'll return all the comments that you guys send back to me. Take care and have a good one.